All right, the final mechanical test that you might run on a lens is the zoom, if it happens to be a zoom lens that you're buying. So we're going to listen to a few here. I don't have any bad ones, unfortunately. Like I threw all my bad stuff away, but at least I can let you listen to it, and maybe you can listen to it with your ear and see kind of what I'm talking about. When you're buying a lens, you need to hold it up to your ear and listen to it. So let's start here with maybe the best lens. This is a Canon lens here. The mic's on, you're listening to it as it zooms. Nice and smooth. And the pressure stays the same, going all the way in and all the way out. Here's another lens. This is a Konica, which is not quite as good as a Canon, but still a good lens. We can listen to it next. You can hear just a slight noise as it's going in and out. It wasn't quite as smooth as the Canon. It's not bad, it's not broken. It's just the quality's not there. Okay. Finally, we're going to look at this. This is a cheap third-party lens called Samyang, which I don't know if I've ever heard of them or not, but you'll be able to hear the difference. Zoom it in and out and see what it sounds like. You hear that kind of clicking. And here at the end. And then we hear the the Canon. Nice and smooth all the way. If you had a bad lens, it would make all kinds of racket. You would have no doubt in your mind that there's something wrong with it. None of these three lenses here seem to have anything broken. There just seems to be a different in quality about how smooth they are. This Canon is the best one. Nearly mint, it looks like. But if you're at a camera show, put it up to your ear and zoom it in and out. Listen to it carefully. Focus it, listen to it, and grab it and twist it and see if you can find some play in the helical. Those are the three things you want to check for on a lens if you're purchasing, or if you purchase one off head was down. I need to get up here near the mic. If you purchase one off eBay, these are the tests you can run when you first get it. The person who sold it may not like your reason for returning it, but that's just part of eBay. You've check it when you get it and make sure that it's quiet, that there's no sand in it, no grit, that it's zooming smoothly and that it's focusing smoothly, and that there's no play in the helical. And decide if you want to keep it or not, or if you're at a camera show, decide if you want to buy it or not. Okay, let's move on to the final test for lenses. Okay, we're getting to the end of the video. This is the last thing you need to check on a lens if you're thinking about purchasing it, or you've bought one off eBay and you need to check it, is the aperture blades. Most people that have cameras know about these. So I saved them to last. They're obvious. Here's the lens. It's partially disassembled. And there's the aperture blades. that people are so concerned about. Normally, when the lens is off a camera, they'll be down, but when you mount it on the camera, they will lock up like so. And the reason they do that is so the get my probe here. The viewfinder you want it to be bright. On the early lenses in the 60s, they didn't have this feature, and so when you look through the viewfinder, like a Pentax Spotmatic, it would be very dim inside, and you would have to open the lens to be able to compose your picture, and then you'd have to close it down to the aperture that you wanted to take your exposure at. Well, later they fixed that to where when you have it off the camera, and I don't know that all cameras are this way, but it's basically the same principle. You pick up the lens and it's not on the camera, it'll be closed. When you lock it on the camera, it'll be open. And when you take your picture, whatever exposure you've chosen, whatever aperture, the lens will close down to that aperture. When the picture's taken, once the picture's taken, it'll open back up. Now these blades here are like on a rose petal, and they have pivot points. Here's one right here. Here's one here. Here's one here. Here's one here. Here's one here. Each one of those pivot points is a blade. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because when people think about oil on a aperture blades, they think about the oil being on the blades. But oil can also be at the pivot points, and you'll never see the oil. This is important, as I will show you shortly. That you think, well, I'm looking at the blades and I see no oil, but yet it opens and closes slow. What's going on? Well, then you've got oil at the pivot points, or you might have oil in the mechanism. There's a plate back here that turns left and right, not very far. It only has to go far enough to open and close these blades here. But sometimes oil can get on that plate and also do the same thing. So let's go ahead and grab some lenses here. I tried to find some lenses that would represent what you might see if you go to buy a lens. And we'll have to hope the light can get through here. Here's one that's working properly. As you can see, there's no hesitation. It's almost instantaneous. And it makes that kind of clicking sound also. So that those blades on that are okay, and the pivot points are also okay. Normally, you don't oil blades. They normally will run dry. So when you go in to clean them, you just clean all the oil off and put them back in dry. Now this right here, if you go to a camera show and you are doing this, you say, well, I don't see any oil on the blades, but yet it's dragging. You don't want to buy this lens. It has oil at the pivot points, or it has oil on the plate that the pivot points ride in. And even though you don't see oil on the blades, the oil will have to be cleaned out. And you would say, well, it's closing down though, so won't it work? No, it won't. The camera, when it releases and is starting to take its picture, this is moving so slow that it'll take the picture, say about here, before it closes down to whatever you've set it for. In other words, if you've set it for f16 or 22, it's moving so slow it won't get into position in time. You see how it's moving slow like that. The camera will go ahead and take the picture before it completely gets down to the preset aperture that you have chosen. So you always want it to be able to snap down. It has to snap into position before the picture is taken. And also, like I said, even though you can't see the oil, there's oil on the pivot points or oil on the plates. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there's some thunder in the background. Looks like it might have some rain. Okay, here's another one, and I wanted to show you. And on this one, you can see the oil. Oil on blades always is shiny, makes them look wet, and that's why I chose this lens here, is so you could see what oil looks like on the blades. If you don't know, some of you may already know. When you're buying a lens, let's see if we can look down through the front. I don't know, the light is shining through here. I'm going to say no, we're not going to be able to see it. We'll go to this side. We can see it over here though. See the oil on the blades there. And you might think, well, what causes that? How does oil get on the blades? Normally it happens when the lens gets hot. Well, the grease in the camera, which we discussed earlier, this has a helical and there's grease in it. That grease, when it heats up, I don't know what you'd call it, but I would call it solvents. The solvents in the grease, whatever is in there, vaporizes, and when the lens cools off, the grease condenses onto the blades. And that's how it happens. It's caused by heat. Some of you out there that know more about this sort of thing than I do will have to explain it. I don't know what goes into grease, but the grease melts. Part of it vaporizes, goes into the air. Later the lens closes down. I say closes down, cools off. Maybe it's cooling off, it's real cold at night, and that vapor has to go somewhere, and it goes right to the blades. And that's how oil gets on them. And then sometimes it does it by kind of a capillary action. The grease gets hot, and it flows down to the pins, and then from the pins down to the blades. That's another way it gets in there. Anyway, so you've seen three. You've seen the oil on the blades. You've seen one that's slow, even though there's no oil on the blades, because the oil is on the pivot points, or it's on the plate that the pivot points are riding in. So even though you don't see oil on the blades, this lens will need repair work. And then you've seen one that's in good shape here. Immediately snaps down. It has to snap into position again before the picture is taken. And if the blades are slow, the picture will be taken before they close down, and essentially you get overexposure. I don't know what these are because I'm not looking, but 5.6, 3.5. I mean, excuse me, 5.6, maybe 8, 16, 22, whatever you set it for. When you're looking through it through your viewfinder, it'll be bright. When the camera gets ready to take the picture, it needs to close down, take the picture, and then open back up so you can see through the I'll get it there eventually. Get it through the viewfinder. I've been at this all day and I am tired. Anyway, that's the aperture. There's the aperture. This one probably has oil at the pivot points because it's not snapping all the way down. It should, but it's not. And this is what I'd call a junker. It's normally I'd throw it away. I found it and thought that it might be useful for this video. So I brought it in the shop, cleaned it up, and look at it. And I should get going here because this video's been long enough, but if I wanted to clean those blades, I would take this screw out here, here, and here, and this plate would lift up and the blades would be exposed. They would probably fall out. I would have to be very careful. Then I'd have to remove them, clean each one, put them back in the proper position, and then put these 3 screws back in. A customer, I say a customer, one of the viewers out there would have no problem doing that. That's the simple part. The hard part is getting down this far into the lens. It has to be done properly, and it has to be reassembled properly. So that's the hard part. The actual cleaning of the blades is not that much trouble. Okay. That's it. That's lenses. I wonder how long this video is going to be once I get it edited. I don't know. Okay, that's it. This is supposed to be a short 10-minute video. There's more to lenses than I thought there was. And I still need to even make more videos on lenses, especially the telephoto. I need to strip down a telephoto and show you what I meant about those channels and the rollers inside of it and the different tubes. And the only way you can really see that is if I tear one down and show it to you. But this is enough for now. If you go to a camera show and you're looking at lenses, you know now how to put them up to your ear and listen and check for certain things. And don't tell them that I showed you how to do it, because I don't want them mad at me. But anyway, that's enough for today. And thanks for dropping by. Thanks for watching. Later.